Shabbat Shalom. As you know, last Saturday, last Shabbat, Pope Benedict passed away. For 8 years, he served as Pope from 2005 to 2013, and he will probably be most remembered for being the first Pope in 600 years to abdicate his position while alive. According to church history, there were perhaps 6 such popes who did so over time. Some of them, by the way, not so voluntarily, having been actually run out of office. But he'll be remembered for that abdication in his lifetime. Well, in 2008, when he was Pope, I had the privilege of being part of an interfaith group from the Southern California Board of Rabbis that went on a trip together to Vatican and to the state of Israel. It was a glorious trip in terms of rabbis, and Catholic priests, and clergy. And we really had the run of the place at the Vatican because we were accompanied by one of the bishops who is here locally. And if you've ever been to the Vatican, you know the Swiss guards with their halberds that really let you know where you can enter and where you can't when they are crossed those halberds. And when we would approach, somehow magically with the bishop at the head, they would open up and we could enter into areas which most people cannot, halls and verandas and terraces that were just so magnificent. Well, one of the highlights of the trip was a prayer experience we got to share with the Pope. Now, it wasn't just us, it was actually 10,000 other people in this enormous hall that's used for these types of events. And it was prearranged that after this prayer experience that I would present something to the Pope. We were seated with a number of so-called dignitaries, including a group of NASA astronauts who had just returned from a shuttle mission. So at the end of the prayer experience, he came down the steps and he greeted each person in the front row and they said a couple words. He presented him with a gift. And when he got to me, I was able to shake hands with him, to present him with a gift, to explain the nature of our trip. I have to tell you, I really felt as if I was in the presence of holiness. Now, Pope Benedict will not be remembered as one of the great priests who held that position as Pope. In fact, there are many who criticize him for not doing enough when it came to the sexual scandal surrounding priests, even when he was a cardinal. And so it was that he will be criticized by some in terms of theology and social agenda. But there's something I will always admire him for, and that is stepping down voluntarily. You see, as I understand his motives, he saw himself as a bridge, a transition from Pope John Paul to the next stage of the Catholic Church. He knew that to thrive, that they would have to have a different leader. And so, still in good health, he abdicates that position, knowing how important the leadership is of the church. It's really a sense of humility, to have the dignity to be able to do that. I admire him for being able to do so, to put aside his ego, to be able to do what's best for the greater good of society. And since that change, Pope Francis, who was installed, been great innovations and changes in the Catholic Church that many people have been waiting for a long time. On this Shabbat, I think about that humility, the dignity of Pope Benedict. That's what I'll remember him for. Wishing you all a Shabbat of sanctity and joy, perhaps a little bit of humility too. Shabbat Shalom.